crap. I wasn't ready. Okay, let me think. Let's see here. I could do jokes about peeing in the pool. No, that's been overdone. How about I do a bit about a floaty in the pool, and it was really just a Babe Ruth. Shit, no, that's Caddyshack. Man, I have no idea what to do for the intro for this episode. I've just been waiting, and no good ideas are coming to me. I mean, I feel like I'm drowning in bad ideas, and nothing seems to be working. So, sorry, everyone. I guess I'll have to take a dive on this one. Why is this so hard? Did I have a stroke? I wanted to really make a splash with this intro, but I guess I'm just all wet. Swimming pool horror on this episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast.
Attention, planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer Podcast. 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 That's time for the show. Yay.
Hello and welcome everyone to the deep end known as Attack of the Killer Podcast. I'm your lifeguard, Insane Mike, and this is episode 269 called Swimming Pool Horror. And if I'm your lifeguard, you're all going to drown. We're going to be talking about horror movies that deal with or have scenes involving swimming pools. If this is your first time listening to the show, what Attack of the Killer Podcast is, we are a horror movie podcast. Group of friends, we get together, we come up with a topic, and we discuss films within that topic. We're all casual here, so we speak openly and freely. So just want to let you know, there may be spoilers. If you like the show, let us know by showing us your support by becoming an attacker. How do you do that? You go to jointheattackers.com and you pick a tier that best suits you. Any support really helps the show. It really, really does. And becoming an attacker, you get all kinds of amazing perks for supporting the show. Everything from bonus episodes, exclusive video series, even shout-outs on the show, much like these attackers.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to, we got Lisa from the Bad Movie Bunny podcast. We got Abe from Brett and Tony, Abe and Ash. Rude Horror podcast. We got Rose. We got Clayton. We got Tony Miller. We got Casey Kelderman, Andrew, Jacob. We got Abraham, Carmen, Hot Rod, Andrew, Brandy, Stefan, Godzilla, Chris Cook, Jessica, Seth, Brett, Larry, Roman, Timothy, Jacob, and me. Oh, yeah, I was on there. Yeah, I just want to shout out all our awesome attackers.
Yes, thank you guys so much for being attackers.
Thanks, guys.
And being one of us. You will not believe how much extra goodies you could get by becoming an attacker. So check it out for yourself by going to jointheattackers.com. That's right, that's jointheattackers, all one word, .com. Well, it's join the attackers is all one word, not join the attackers, it's all one word.
Right. It's important.
.com. And now that you've unpaused the show so you could become an attacker, it's time to introduce you to our lifeguard staff we call the podcast crew. He spent most of his day today hanging out at the swimming pool. Then someone told him to tuck it back in. Andy, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening.
That's Andy, all right.
He was going to take a dip into the swimming pool when the lifeguard shouted out, "Hey, what do you have there?" And he said, "Hummus." Jason, everybody.
It's delicious. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for listening.
There are two reasons he doesn't let his kids into the swimming pool. One, he doesn't have a pool. And two, he doesn't have any kids. Tad.
Very true. Hey, guys.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Oh, so good.
All right. We're going to have a great show. But first, is there not enough horror in your life? That is why you need Shudder, the streaming channel for any and all horror fans. If you're listening to the show right now, you must like horror movies, right? So then why have you not signed up for Shudder yet? Let us help you out by giving you guys a month of Shudder for free. It's our way of saying thank you all for listening. And how you do that is you just enter our promo code AOTKP and you get a full month of Shudder for free. That's right, free. So do it now. Again, that promo code is AOTKP. Here doing the backstroke is Tad with What We Watched.
Well, it's a historically low time at the box office, but that doesn't stop us from tuning into Shudder and Tubi. So, Andy, what have you watched?
I was able to watch quite a bit, and I would have able to watch more. But two of the things that I watched were documentaries in 3 parts on HBO Max. Thank you, Jason. The first thing I watched was Heaven's Gate, Cult of Cults, and if you guys know anything about the Heaven's Gates cult, they were the people that thought that they were going to ascend into heaven aboard a spaceship, and after the males castrated themselves, they went up in a big spaceship and ascended into heaven. And the funny thing is, the more this happened probably in around when I was like a junior in high school, and I thought it was bizarre then, but watching this more, the more I learned, the more bizarre it came, because this cult was around for like 20 some years. It was like, it happened like in the early, it initially started back in the early 70s, and people were changing their names. All of them had like the last suffix of a name. So like, if their name, like this one guy's name was Sawyer, so his name was Swody. And like if a girl's name was Andrea, her name would be Andrody. Everything ended with Odie, and not like John Arbuckle's dog. It was just everybody was the last name was Odie. I mean, it's just a really bizarre documentary about this, the Heaven's Gate cult, which is still in around today and still has a website, if you can believe that. Another thing that I watched was a documentary called Lady in the Dale, and it's about this this woman who in the early 70s had the idea for a 3-wheel car, and it turns out she was a con man, and she transitioned in the 70s, which they say was probably one of the bravest and most brazen things she ever did. But it turned out all to be a scam, and it was this. It was during the gas crisis, so she was, she was very opportunistic during that time, and so that's why they say that was one of the main reasons why all these people bought into it and started giving her money. And it's just this crazy story about this woman named Liz Carmichael. I can't remember her birth name, but just a crazy documentary that's worth checking out. I also was able to watch Love and Monsters with the wife, that's a lot of fun, and I recommend that one. As for some of the DVDs that I watched, been still chipping away at the Masters of Horror. I was able to pick up Dance of the Dead with Robert Englund and Jonathan Tucker. Did you guys ever see that one?
Yeah, that one's a Toby Hooper one.
Yes, and it's just kind of like it's kind of relevant today because it's kind of it touches on like a pandemic of these dead people, and it's almost post-apocalyptic, and just this sort of like nightclub where they inject dead people with this substance they get from blood, and they dance the loop, and it's interesting. I think most of it, they said most of it was shot in Canada, but yeah, I'm still glad that I'm adding to the Masters of Horror collection. So it was okay. I dug it, and I got a little Toby Hooper trading card in there. Those are always fun. Lots of I got some Severance stuff, and when this came out, I knew I had to see it because I'm just weird. I actually purchased a movie called The Masturbating Gunman.
Of course you did.
Why? Because I'm a sick evil fuck and I enjoy these things. Um, it's the movie, even though it's gross in some parts, it's actually pretty damn funny. Um, it's about this crime lord that wants to impregnate a virgin, because he thinks that his son is going to be the second coming. I mean, it's a bizarre fucking movie. And this masturbating gunman is just like this gun for hire, but anytime he sees a woman, he'll just, instantly start beating off. He's just like, he's the masturbating gunman. He must jerk before he works, you know. Um, and yeah, the gunplay and just the bizarre kills in it are just hilarious. It, I don't know if it's worth owning, but it's worth a watch. It really is. Even my wife, because I would watch this before I went to bed, and my wife was just looking with like what, and she was actually getting enthralled with it a little bit. It's like, I can't believe we're actually watching this shit. But yes, the Masturbating Gunman, New Zealand, low budget film. Another one that I got was, and I've always wanted to see this one because I always dug the movie Blackula, and it's a hell of a lot better than this one I'm about to tell you about. It's called Blackenstein. Um,
Yeah.
it's actually kind of fun, but I mean, it's not a great movie. But the story behind the guy who wrote it and produced it is actually much more interesting. It turns out he was actually murdered in his home, and he was a lawyer, and he they believe that he might have got into some shady kind of stuff. But he wrote multiple screenplays. I mean, they show him in this little slight documentary that they have on the disc. And he was part of the Cauliflower Alley Club, which deals with boxers and wrestlers and professional wrestlers, and he was involved in a lot of things in the early 1970s L.A. But the screaming, scantily clad, really pretty woman on the front cover, yeah, that's hardly even relevant to even the story. I think that image is just on there to try and get this thing to sell. But yeah, but if you're gonna watch something, definitely watch Blackula. It's a lot better. Next up, we got a Fulci film that I hadn't seen, and I purchased The Devil's Honey. Much more different than any of his other films because it's almost basically kind of like an more erotic version of let's see, I Spit on Your Grave, but kind of take out the reasons for revenge are much more lighter. Uh, for instance, first thing from the get go, I see a saxophone played into a woman's vagina. Yeah, that's within the first five. I'm not kidding. It's really bizarre shit. But uh, yeah, and there's backstories to this one. Like the lead in this movie, this girl, what is her name? Corinne Cleary or no Blanc? Yeah, it's a Italian name, Blanca Marsalich. Anyway, apparently she was a big pain in the ass in this movie, and once the producer got her offset and dropped her off at the airport, he was so fed up with her shit, he reared back and punched her in the damn face.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he was really pissed off at her. But um, much like the masturbating gunman, this is worth a watch just because it's Fulci, and Fulci actually acts in it. But it's another really bizarre sort of, I guess they would call it Euro trash movie. Sort of, it's really kind of sleazy. Um, but yeah, definitely different. And the next one up is a DVD that I had bought when I was down in Denver, and sometimes I just go for the really obscure shit, and this is, as if masturbating gunman is mainstream, but really obscure stuff. Like, and this was shot on video. And be prepared for when I say this. I would rather watch Clowntergeist than this fucking movie that I'm about to tell you about.
Whoa.
The only thing that it's got going for it is its cover, because the cover is fucking bitchin', man, because it's got like this masked guy and a severed hand, and he's got these garden shears, and he's going full tilt cropsy, and it looks cool. And the name of it is called Garden Tool Massacre. Trouble is, I think it's a UK film, and it's a shot on video film, and it was in the 1990s, and I think part of it was shot, then they waited 5 years, and then they shot the rest of it, because like your traditional linear way of storytelling is completely off. I was confused as shit, and I got progressively more pissed off as I watched this movie. It is fucking awful. Like I said, the only thing that it's got going for it is the cover. The cover is awesome. The movie, it's atrocious. But yeah, don't watch this movie. Avoid it at all costs, and flush it down the toilet if you see it. So that is what I watched.
All right, Jason, what have you watched?
Well, I needed some time to kill, and I watched one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's almost 13 hours long. It's the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I watched through those again.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I love them. But I did watch Jim Cummings' new movie, The Beta Test.
Yeah,
Finally got that thing watched. Man, it's so good.
pretty different from everything else he's done.
Yeah, and I'm glad for that. I mean, he is him, and he's neurotic and awesome, but yeah, I'll take all of it from him.
It's weird to see him not playing a cop, right? I mean,
That too, right? It's been a cop this whole time until now. Yeah, I loved it. It was super great. I think it was on Hulu.
yeah, I think you're right.
And then last night we watched this movie at a watch party called Hilarious,
Yeah,
and it's fucking awesome, and picked by Attacker Bill Fisher, and it's not a real anthology. I mean, it is, but it doesn't have a wraparound story or anything. It's just a collection of short films. A couple that's played at Snake Alley and Halloween-a-Palooza even.
yeah.
Like death metal. Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Chris
Okay.
McInnes. Mm-hmm.
Born Again, right?
Born Again from the Jason Tosteven guy. Yep. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Where the late guy gave him the wrong book, and Ellie Church is pregnant, and
yeah, with Ellie Church, and they're trying to resurrect
A satanic
Satan,
cult, yeah.
but it's
Satanic cult,
They
but-
bring back Jesus. Yeah.
oops. But it was great. I just want to thank everyone who came to our watch party last night. It was a freaking blast, as they always are. Try to do them every few weeks, and if you don't know about it, all you need is a Amazon Prime account and an hour and a half, and it's just chatting along with us during the movie. It's a blast, and that's what I watched.
All right, that leaves you, Mike. What have you watched?
Well, mine's going to be probably quick because I haven't really watched much. I haven't had time to watch much lately, and especially not in any movies. It's been mostly shows. And when I do have free time to watch, it's either I'm watching something with Brandy, or I'm watching something with Simon, or I'm watching something with both of them. And each of them has different shows we watch together. But Simon and I, the two that I'll talk about is Simon and I got through the whole second season of Only Murders in the Building. Oh,
Nice.
so good. I love that show so
Nice.
much. Yeah.
good.
Yeah. And this season was so great. And yeah. And it's cool because Simon is really, over the past couple of years, have really gotten into murder mystery movies and stuff like that. So, and then me being always a lifelong Steve Martin fan and Martin Short. It's just such a great show, and it's just enough of their talent with like without being over the top in those characters like they do when they were younger, and but the stories they weave and the mysteries that they do in the show, it's just they're just great and just keeps you going. And then the only other thing I really, we started watching Harlequin, so we're getting through the first season of that, which is hilarious. What We Do in the Shadows, keep watching that week by week. But the other one that Simon and I got done is we finally got caught up on Moon Knight. And that was I really liked it. I thought it was good. I know there's a lot of haters out there, but I thought it was
awesome.
I thought it was great.
I've seen a few episodes.
Yeah, I like how they handled the character. I liked that they kept true to some things because I thought they were going to go in a different direction than what they do in the comics. But they turned it back around and kept it, so that was really cool. And I just thought overall it was really really good. And immediately after that, Simon and I started Miss Marvel, and we kind of walked away from it. So
I loved it.
yeah, I know I'm not giving up
wife
on it.
watched it.
But I know Simon, has gotten kind of a bad taste in his mouth from it from the last episode we just watched. And I just think it was just kind of one of those episodes that now it's taken the story in a different direction, and so I think that is kind of where it lost us a little bit. I want to blame also maybe a cultural separation as part of it too. So we're gonna finish watching it, but then we just got caught up on Only Murders in the Building. So, but that's really it. That's all I've watched.
I think I'm throwing the towel in on Marvel. I'll see some of the movies, Guardians 3 and any of the big ones, but it's just I cannot possibly go from one series to the next series so I can know what's happening in a movie. It's becoming homework and a chore to me, so I don't know.
Well, I can stick with it just because to me it's like to me the movies and the shows and all that is like reading the comic books without having to actually read. So because I'm getting the things that I like out of comics, superheroes, flashy costumes, action and humor, and what I like, and that sounds like that you're not liking, is such the connected universe.
World building.
Yeah, world building.
I think that was great when it wasn't obvious that Disney Plus is just pumping stuff out to keep subscribers, to be honest. It just feels like it's like if one ends one week, you have come on, She-Hulk or whatever.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that one.
I don't know, man. And I'm sure it's fine, but it just feels like when I saw Doctor Strange 2, I'm glad I watched WandaVision, but I'm like, if this is how it's gonna be, where I have to watch all these to understand what's happening in the big tentpole movies, it's not gonna happen. I just don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, sadly, if I think the movies...
It's almost as if you miss like one program, you are completely taken out of the loop. I mean, I think that's what that kind of fear that they're kind of pumping into your head. It's just like, I gotta watch everything to know what the fuck's going on here and there and everywhere.
I can understand that, especially with the movies. The shows, not so much. I feel like there's still connectivity, but they still keep their storylines within their own realm, and instead of being all expanded. And with the shows, it's more of like, nods here and there, and just recognizing that events has happened, but it doesn't affect this storyline, that kind of thing. But I can totally understand that with the movies. But with that said, on the flip side, there are still some Marvel movies I've never watched, and two of those being the first two Thor movies. And I was not lost at all with Jane Foster coming back into the story in Love and Thunder. I know enough outside of, and I'm not even talking about comic book knowledge because I really don't give two rats about Thor in the comics, but I knew enough that Jane Foster was a character in those first two Thor movies that that I wouldn't say I was lost. I thought they handled that character well for people who, and they even give you backstory on it in Love and Thunder. So I feel like, maybe I can see definitely your point with Doctor Strange, because especially the Scarlet Witch thing. If you did not watch WandaVision, you would probably be really
like what
confused.
like what the fuck is happening right now?
Well, and this is all unprecedented too. There's never been a world of continuity built this big before ever
Yeah.
in the history of film. So,
And so it makes me excited every
can
time.
easily become overwhelming.
Yeah, but I could see it being overwhelming. Yeah. But with that said, Tad, what did you watch?
I watched a few things, some unexpected. I will start with the most underwhelming. I rewatched Nope at my friend Blake's house on his new, or not new, but he's got some new speakers, but we watched it on his projector, and it's sad that I go to his house to get a better experience in the theater now, but watching it there uninterrupted without a people.
Blake talking through the movie, bro.
No, he's pretty good.
Oh, good.
And his screen is higher quality, and his sound he's got 9.1 Dolby Atmos. He's got it all. So it was really fantastic. And going back and watching it with the knowledge from what I watched the first time really opened up a lot of really cool little Easter eggs. It's oh, I see where he's setting this up here and here and here, where the first time I watched it, I sort of felt dumb, I must have missed something. And I absolutely hate when people you got to watch something more than once to this movie, or you have to read about it. I hate that kind of stuff. You should just be able to watch a movie and enjoy it, and I did, but I enjoyed it more the second time. That being said, I went and rewatched Saturday night. I think Nikki was in Puerto Rico. I was home alone. I'm I'm just gonna throw on a movie that she will never want to watch again, and I will never find an excuse to watch again. And I wanted to catch it before the next one comes out, and I put on Halloween Kills again with the new extended ending, which is strange because I saw that in theaters last year, and I was one of the few people who really liked it. And again, I think it's because seeing a new Michael Myers movie in a theater is exciting. And then I watched it on Peacock when a week later and still enjoyed it because it was still October. And I was like, man, people are crazy for wanting so much out of a Halloween movie. This is fine. And then I rewatched it this weekend, and I'm like, oh no, I'm starting to see why people did not like this, because some of it was just so wildly. I'm like, man, I was so blinded
Wrapped
by
up in
my the atmosphere of being October and being excited and everything. Once it rewatching it, I'm like, I almost wish I hadn't, but I still got to watch Michael Myers slaughter people. Even the worst Halloween movie's better than most other movies.
That's a fact.
And with that being said, I also watched The Lost City, which I don't even know why I watched this. I think I know why, because I was laying in bed and we don't have cable, so I have a really old smart TV in the bedroom, and it gets Netflix or Amazon Prime Video, and this is on Amazon Prime Video. This is a Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum, Daniel Radcliffe, Brad Pitt action comedy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's exactly what it looks like. Maybe a little smarter than most. They make it look like a rom-com, but it's not. It's an adventure type, with a little more comedy than National Treasure, that kind of thing. It has a little more. I love Channing Tatum. I think I wish he was in more. He's really funny. I don't know. It was fine. It's definitely a throwaway movie. I'll watch everything Daniel Radcliffe is in. I'm a huge Radcliffe
fan. How about that trailer?
Oh my God, I can't wait till November.
Yes.
I've never said that before in my adult life, but I cannot wait till November.
Yes.
And it's everywhere. I'm so excited.
It's
that
funny.
Trailer 20 times.
One of my comedian friends was like, nobody's really talking about... we're talking about the new Weird Al movie trailer, no one's really talking about the fact that, it's obviously all outlandish and made up and exaggerated, but the fact that like Radcliffe is like ripped and shirtless throughout the trailer is just hilarious. It's just so funny because it's the opposite of Weird Al, and that's
Lanky,
the humor.
gangly, but
Yes, that
it's
is like
all
the
parody.
You're right.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the humor. That's the humor of it, and
yeah.
it's and he goes, if and my friend who pointed this out also said, for people who are saying always wanted a sexy Weird Al movie, you've never watched UHF, because he's basically saying like even the normal
Heck yeah.
like the real Weird Al is sexy.
I
Like,
agree.
So, yeah. So that looks great. Lost City, worth it's like an hour and a half. It's a time killer, but it was on while I worked on something. And then I'm going to get to the thing that I really liked. New A24 horror movie, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Ooh, how was
Yeah.
it?
I loved it.
Of course.
Yeah, and I am very curious about this one. I think it's a lot like most A24 movies. Half the crowd is like, this is complete trash and sucks, and the other half is like, it's genius. I've never played the game Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Have you guys?
No.
No.
It's like a party game, basically, where
Definitely no.
it's really, let's see if I can even explain it. It's very simple. Like they cut up a bunch of pieces of paper. One has an X on it. Everybody draws a sheet. They turn off the lights, and you go around the house. The person with the X on their paper does not tell anyone they have it, and they're the killer. And they have to pretend to kill someone, and that person has to like lay where they were killed until the not killer finds them and yells, "Bodies, bodies, bodies." The lights come up, and you try to guess who the killer is. This movie's a blast because it's a group of Zennials, which I think is where you'll lose a lot of people. It's like a bunch of like college age kids that get together for a party during a hurricane at a rich person's house. So these are all spoiled 20-something-year-old college students who are popping pills, snorting shit, smoking shit, drinking. There's a hurricane coming, so they all shack up in Pete Davidson's dad's house. He's sort of the star. But people might hate it because they find these characters annoying, but that's what the movie is about, is like it puts a mirror up to these people, and there's a really hilarious long dialogue where they use just about every modern trope and word that you see on social media, like triggered and gaslighting, and it's just a fantastic monologue where these characters are all screaming at each other. But it is a very, very, very clever movie that I was completely fooled by at the end. That the ending completely surprised me. I'm not going to say anything else about the movie, but basically think about it's. I mean, I told you what the game Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is. These kids are playing this in a huge house, and the game starts to become more real than a game. And, they're starting to die off one by one. And it's a blast. If you're not a Pete Davidson fan, I am unapologetically. I think he's hilarious. But if you don't like him, that should not stop you from watching this. Other than him, it's a bunch of like unknown young actors. Just a really fun, cool, fresh, new horror movie. And again, it is not really A24 style either. It's not like shot artsy, and it has a really cool soundtrack. I don't know. It has a new score by Disaster Piece, which is fucking awesome.
Very
yeah. So I recommend Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Check it out. I'm sure it'll be hitting streaming soon because I don't think it's sticking in theaters very long. But yeah,
I was just going to ask that. I was wondering where you saw it.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters. I was surprised that we were the only people in the theaters. It was me, Nikki, and then we ran into Tony. Shout out Tony Miller, and he sat with us. And we all three had a blast watching this one. We were sort of like laughing and yelling at the right parts because we had the theater to ourselves, and it got good reaction out of us three, and we all left the theater pumped for it. So 3 shining reviews from people that you may trust their taste, so check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very awesome. All right. Okay, everybody, get your phones ready for the position which lies at the front of the starting grid. See, I know like stuff about sports and cars and whatnot.
Okay.
So here's Jason with pole position.
From now on, like your parents were, you are the secret force of pole position.
All right, let's take a quick look back a couple episodes ago and pole position for episode 267. The question, who is the best bro in any horror movie? Do you remember your answers? I'll tell you. Insane Mike, he picked Brad from Night of the Creeps and Chad from Tucker and Dale. Jason picked Glenn, Johnny Depp from Nightmare on Elm Street, and Kurt from Cabin in the Woods. Tad picked Ed, Shaun of the Dead, and Zeke from The Faculty. And Andy picked Stu from Scream and David from The Lost Boys. Guys, these results, I don't even know. Tad's last place, 9.1%. That's never happened before.
Yeah, I forgot to log in and vote for myself.
Oh, that must be it. That's got to be it.
All of my Twitter accounts.
And we got a tie for second and third. So I guess I'll just, again, I'll read the winner. But it's so weird because it's something else that never happens. Insane Mike.
Yeah.
He finally logged into his Twitter. This is what happened.
That's right, I did.
So yeah, me and Andy got 27.3%, and Insane Mike got 36% of the votes.
Suck it!
Wow, sore winner. That was terrible.
Come on, I deserve it.
That's true. Maybe you deserve something. Well, let's get into this week's pole position. The question is, what is the best water death in a horror movie? Same rules as ever. Snake draft, 2 rounds. Go to the random sequence generator. And beep, boop, boop, beep, boop. Oh, typical. Let me change this here. We got Tad with the first.
Yes.
We got Mike with the second.
Okay.
We got Jason with the third pick, and Andy on the turn with the
So
4
it's
and
reflecting what place we're all going to come in.
5. Come on. Okay, so Tad, start us off. What's the 101?
Man, there's one that's like really obvious that I think I would pick, but I'm going to take one that I bet I'm thinking nobody else would really take, but I really...
Well, then you should save it for the end, right?
No, it's my favorite. I'm going with the school bus massacre from Trick or Treat.
Nice.
Oh.
That's a really good
Okay.
one.
Yeah, to me that is that's my favorite part of that movie, and that story is so fucking creepy, and the kids coming out later from the water is so fucking creepy. Just one of my favorite films, one of my favorite scenes. It's done masterfully. So yeah, the school bus massacre from Trick or Treat.
That's good. This is making me glad I'm not having the front of the draft, so I have to narrow down all these awesome picks. So good luck, Mike. You're up next.
Yeah, I know.
Pick number 2.
I'm like was worried.
How do you pick?
Well, I'm gonna go with my knee-jerk, very first reaction, the first thing I thought of, and that is because it was the scene when I was a kid when I first saw it.
Yep.
Like terrified me and made me not want to ever go in the water. And that is in Creepshow when Ted Danson is buried and the tide comes in.
Something that tied you over. That's on my list too. Fantastic one.
I had that one. Damn it.
Oh,
Yeah, so that one's
I
mine.
didn't have that one. Well, shoot. Gosh dang. What do I do? There's so many good ones. I'm going to play the game and not pick my favorite because I don't think you turds will pick it. So now you will.
Pick the one to vote for. I bet I know what you're going for.
There's 2 from this movie that are super
Yep.
iconic.
Yep.
It's from I'm going to go with the opening girl of Jaws.
I knew it.
I
knew
had
it.
to.
You have to. That is easy. votes
I
right
just
there.
rewatched the movie not too long ago, and fuck, it's so good. That whole scene.
In 4K, it's
In
like,
oh.
yeah.
We have had literally thousands of shark movies since the original Jaws, and
Nothing.
nothing is as impactful as that opening scene.
Nothing. From just seeing her get
the-
thrashed around.
Just the idea of she's getting just drug around the water.
That first little, huh?
Yeah.
and then drug around in a way that we've never seen before, just still sticking out of the water and moving
Yeah.
around. And then the way it ends is just, it's just this scary, just silence.
I mean, for that. Oh yeah, that.
And then down
silence.
under, and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck.
Yeah. But dude, like that had to have been like for that actress terrifying filming it, like
Yeah.
being thrashed around the water like that.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
even if you're not being eaten alive by a shark, just being thrashed around like that had to. 'Cause I don't know how they filmed it, but you know, there had to be something dragging her along because you can't naturally do that.
Nope. All right, Andrew, you're up next with the next two picks, 4 and 5. What's your
okay.
favorite? What are the best
And it's-
water
and
deaths?
it's- Water deaths. Okay.
in a horror movie?
What kind of weird shit is Andy
Yeah, I
gonna
know.
pick that
Here
no
we
one will
go.
vote for?
Well, this is just my personal. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. But I'm gonna go with one of my favorite is the bayonet slash across the woman's throat in Prowler when she's in the
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Prowler.
great one. Yeah.
pool. Because the water just floods red. It's awesome. And my second favorite one would probably have to be the nurse in Halloween 2, where she just gets
Oh,
boiled
yeah.
alive.
Didn't even think of that. That's a great one.
That is a good
Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
That nobody's gonna vote for.
I mean, they won't, but
Oh,
Probably
will
not.
though.
I mean, I'd vote for that one because I
Me
remember
too.
the first time I ever saw that
Oh,
movie
man.
and that
I mean,
scene.
you never forget those titties. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Amazing Grace, sit on my face.
I mean,
Yes.
but that's just a double whammy. Not only is she being drowned, but she's like being
Boiled.
boiled.
oh
Yep.
god,
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, I went the slasher route on this one. So
good. That's good.
Great
Two good
one.
picks. Sorry, we're gonna have to beat you. So my next pick is the one that absolutely first thought, my go-to 100% every time when I think of water shit. It is the most terrifying and scariest thing to me of all time. I even pulled up the clip and was watching the scene, and I couldn't fucking finish it. It was so terrifying.
Wow, I'm on edge.
It's when Lindsay drowns in the abyss.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Dude, she's like, it's him and Ed. What's his?
O'Neill.
No, Ed. Anyway,
Oh no, that's Al Bundy. Sorry.
yeah, Ed Harris.
Yes.
and they're both in the water's rising, and she's like, "You have to let me drown, and you have to take the one helmet, and carry me to safety. You have to let me die, and the water's so cold that you might be able to bring me back." And just there, and it just, oh my god, it was so fucking tense, and I love it. It's one of my favorite movies, and that scene is just awful.
What?
The Abyss. All right, Insane Mike, pick 7.
Okay, this may be a little bit more of an obscure one, but it definitely taps into another childhood phobia. And talking about swimming like we did on the bonus episode. But the scene in Final Destination 5 where the guy gets his innards sucked out through his asshole because he's stuck on the bottom of the drain of
Yeah.
the pool. And that's also a double whammy. He's like drowning, but he's also getting his
Oh.
innards sucked out
Oh my.
through his butthole, which was like always a childhood fear because like you
Like
would
an
always
urban
have
legend.
your parents would tell you, it's like
Yep.
you stay away from the drain, you're gonna get stuck, So, yeah.
Again, that's another reason 375,000 not to get in a fucking pool. We don't,
Urban Legends. All right, Ted.
Did I say urban legends?
I did.
No,
I
just-
said that's
it
an
is
ur-
an-
that
it
is
is
an
an
urban legend.
Okay, I
Stay
want to
off
make
the
sure.
drain.
It's Final Destination 5.
Final Destination 5. Ted, finish us off. Pick 8.
I have
So
four
many.
more that haven't been mentioned,
I
but
know.
I'm like, do I go for the votes or go for what? I'm going to take a cue from Andy and just pick one I like.
Mm-hmm.
And this one might. I don't see. This is one I think is an awesome scene, but it's not necessarily. Do you guys count? Does it have to be the death on the water, or is it?
I wouldn't think so. I mean,
I'm just gonna
there's
go with
water
this, and if
involved.
okay, I will
We
do
can
this
vote it
one.
down if we
Yeah,
want.
I was gonna say if you say no and this doesn't count, I will move on to one of my next picks. So this scene sticks in my head like a fever dream, like a nightmare. The scene from underwater in a car from Night of the Hunter. when the woman is killed and she's thrown into the water and she's in the car and we go by and her hair is like floating up and you just sort of see this, the look of her. That is to me just terrifying and beautiful and beautiful too. But
I'll let you have that for sure.
Night of the Hunter. What a great fucking movie. One of the few times I'm glad Mike picked something good for the show.
It's the Robert Mitchum flick, right?
yeah.
Well, any honorable mentions? Yes, a million.
I mean, Quint, I thought you were going to go with.
That was what I wrote down first, and then I'm like, but then that opening scene might be more impactful. I don't know.
There's one in one of the movies where that I almost picked was the swimming pool scene. It let the right one in is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Swimming pool scenes I had down The Strangers Pray at Night.
Yeah.
Fucking scene was.
Yeah, that was on my list.
Or the Cronenberg movie Shivers.
That was on my list.
Yeah, but I couldn't remember if there was any
Sexy
actual
death.
kills in that. Yeah.
It's worth dying for, right?
What about T.J. Miller in Underwater when he gets
I still
kind of
haven't seen it.
Oh,
fuck,
yeah.
Mike?
That's actually a really good movie. I was
So
really
good.
surprised. I was going to say, well, technically it's not a death, but it was still pretty bitchin' is when that outboard motor hits Jason Voorhees in the face. And was that part 8? Isn't it?
Friday 6.
Oh, 6. Sorry.
Yeah. I had Friday 4 because anytime I can include, I'm blanking on her name now. My favorite.
Aronson, Julie Aronson.
Yep,
Yeah.
getting stabbed through the raft in Friday 4. Yep.
While she's getting hypothermia in real life.
Yep.
I had the opening scene of Carnival of Souls, which is technically not a death because she comes back and she doesn't know how she survived, but the car going off the bridge in a low-budget movie is like an actual fucking car driving off a bridge.
Yes.
Right.
So anytime to me, like drowning in a car is scary, but I that movie, that scene, and then the people coming out of the water later in that movie, and again, just like a classic black and white creep, like, oh, it gives me the shivers. I love it.
One on
Ken
the sec-
Faree.
Go ahead.
Ken Faree getting chainsawed in the head and then mysteriously coming back at the end of Texas 3.
I'm excited to watch this one on a drive-in screen in October 1st. The Kid in the Pool and Alligator.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Fucking kid gets chomped.
Love alligator.
Yep. And then the one I really almost picked was the little girl in Frankenstein.
Oh sure. Yeah.
She gets tossed in, and
Yep.
when he gets the girl.
Yeah, that's a good one. I had a couple more. I really struggled with this one. I was like I was trying to think of ones up to like while we were doing what we watched. So I just blanked for the most part. But so I put down the kid jumping off the roof and All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. The opening scene from Piranha, which is kind of almost a parody of the opening scene in Jaws, but that was another one that I caught the beginning of that movie as a child, like on TV, and it freaked me the hell out. Just going into this like dark water that you don't know what's in there, these two kids, and then just getting sucked under by something and that noise, which I love. But so that that one always scarred me as a child, so I've had that on there. And so I figured like all my good ones would have gotten taken. So out of spite, I put Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, where Joey gets trapped inside of his waterbed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that counts.
It does, but that was like a jokey one. Out of
And
spite of all the good ones getting taken.
All the teenagers at the pool party where Freddy comes out in real life.
Part
Part
2.
two.
Two.
Jumps out of a manhole or whatever.
Is it the Piranha remake or the remake 3D where that's just a bloodbath?
The first
Both.
one.
The first one where it's just
Definitely, I would say both, but definitely more of the
Yeah.
first one. Yeah,
Holy moly,
because
it's
there was so many more people,
yeah.
and I swear, like 30 minutes of that first one is spent just showing the mayhem and massacre.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
That would have been a
Even-
good one too, like Eli Roth's death.
Yeah.
In that, which wasn't by piranha, which was the best part. Or the girl where the two guys are carrying her, one's carrying her by the arms, the other's carrying her by the legs out of the water, and then she just breaks in half,
Oh, so
which
good.
is so awesome.
I feel like it, since I always just want to mention Carpenter anyway, even though it happened off screen, the fisherman's deaths in The Fog.
Yeah, I was looking at those. I'm like, I don't. Yeah, I mean, when they find them and they're like, they've been drowned,
Oh.
like they have water in their
Yeah.
lungs. Yeah.
Buckflower. What is that?
Well, all right, everybody, get over to Twitter. Get your votes in for who you think picked the best water deaths from a horror movie. And that is pole position.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome, Mike.
It's time to talk about the movies for this evening. Yeah, getting into some swimming pool stuff. Let's start off with Tad. What's our first movie tonight?
Our first movie is Pool Party Massacre.
Gross. Do you think you could take your grandpa with you?
Blair Winthorpe and her friends don't know it yet, but they are about to have the worst pool party ever.
Where'd you go now, pervert?
What's her problem?
Sugar daddy issues.
Speak for yourself, bitch.
You will never forget the first time that somebody gives you a dirty Sanchez.
Go fuck yourself.
Does anybody know how to make a mojito?
I'm not even Italian.
Your logic blows my mind sometimes.
The perfect party horror movie. A bloody good time throughout. Everything I hoped for. An enjoyable romp.
Dude, cash talks or the pizza walks, bro.
Worst pool party.
Pool Party Massacre.
All right, Pool Party Massacre, written and directed by my buddy Drew Marvick. What started out as a relaxing summer day by the pool for a group of high-maintenance young socialites quickly becomes a nightmare when an unknown killer begins stalking and murdering them one by one. This is about as simple as they get, a fun throwback to 80s slashers. I'm probably biased because I love Drew and love everything he does. He's such a positive dude in the horror community. And I know he did this with like no budget and threw together all of the friends and resources he had. We played this at the Capitol, so I got to see it on the big screen with an audience. And I really enjoy this one. I know it's not a high art film, and it drags at times, but it is a lot of fun. You can see its influences right on its sleeve. I'm excited to hear what you guys think.
Well,
And there you go.
I'll say the crickets.
I love the poster. It's awesome. I love the opening credits. It goes doesn't it like go to 8-bit like you typed?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I
That's
wasn't
really
crazy about the
awesome.
music with it, but
I fucking really did love the mustache guy a lot. I thought he was hilarious. The guy that comes to the party that everyone, all the girls hate.
The annoying pervy
so
guy.
annoying. God,
Yes.
I loved him. Yeah, there's boobs and blood, and it was fun. I regret going first.
yeah. Well, I mean, it is. I mean, it's like Tad said. It's a throwback. It's kind of this little.
Yeah.
It's this low budget, Valentine to 80s slasher movies, and I love the fact that the killer has, Francis's outfit from Pee-wee's Big Adventure on. Because that's where my mind went. I was just like, God, where have I seen that? It's just like, you'll be sorry, Pee-wee Herman. And I'm just like, yes, it's fucking Francis.
There's a swimming pool scene.
Yeah, exactly. but it kind of reminded me, and I was just thinking that it kind of reminded me of Tiger King. There's like not one single likable. There's not one
Yeah.
single likable fucking person in this movie, except for maybe the friend, and that's usually supposed to be that's supposed to be the case. So like, yeah, it's these horrible people that are led up to slaughter, which is kind of, it's really a good payoff because these people just you just want to see him hacked to pieces. Maybe not necessarily the crazy tea lady, but the kills were good, and for what he had to work with, I think he did a really good job. Some of the acting, not the greatest, but he, like I said, he did the best he could with what the resources he had. Um, I had fun with it, and I knew, when you're going into a movie called Pool Party Massacre and you see like these, super ditzy, characters, you just not to take it too seriously because the movie itself doesn't take itself too seriously. So if you just have fun with it and not try to,
Yeah.
if you take it for what it is, you'll have fun and you'll enjoy it. And I liked it. It's a good time.
For me, it was okay. To be honest, I probably should have watched it last because I feel like I've forgotten everything about the movie. So that's kind of a bummer about it. Like it's just there isn't much that really stands out. It's not very memorable. It's billed as a horror comedy, where I feel like it doesn't do enough in the comedy realm. Like it tries, but it comes off more of like trying to be more of a legitimate horror movie that has comedic bits in it. I think it needed to lean more into the comedy than it does. And especially with things like playing into the humor of the fact of like it's not a giant pool party. There's not a lot of people there. So at what point would you become suspicious that nobody has come back out of the house to join back to the pool party? And I think that could have led to some hilarious moments of the total naivete of everybody's disappearing and no one's the wiser. But then again, like, with the reveal at the end, it makes sense why, there isn't a lot of suspicion. But yeah, I'll say this. I think it was very, very well made for the budget and the type of movie that it is. Like I was impressed because I've seen tons of movies at this caliber on this level that looks super amateurish. And this I felt like it was very decently shot, and the quality of the film looked really good. It definitely has some production value with that swimming pool and the nice house and everything. So I felt like there was some quality in a lot of quality in the filmmaking aspect. It just needed more on the story and the direction of the type of movie it should be, because I feel like it wants to be a comedy, but there's not enough comedy there to take it funny, and it's definitely feels like a lot of times that it's trying to be a legitimate horror movie, but is but too goofy to be taken seriously as a legitimate horror movie. So it just feels like watching it. The movie doesn't know what it wants to be. Some of the kills were fun. But I like, not my favorite. I don't know if I'd recommend it, but I didn't hate it. Wasn't all pissed off by the end. I thought there was some aspects. I can't tell you what they were because I kind of forgot most of the movie again. But there were some aspects I remember at the time enjoying enough to where I want to see more from this guy. I would like to check out more of his stuff. So, but yeah, just wasn't totally my bag. Did you have any more to add, Jason? I felt like you did.
Oh,
You were just holding back as you were going first?
No, I just thought, the kills were cool. You know, a lot of good blood. The hammer part up through the chin.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
was,
That was
cool
really
shit.
good.
Yeah.
That was really
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
And boobs. So I liked
I was
it.
gonna say he made good casting choices based on looks.
Well, I thought that lead girl was great. I mean, she's a bitch, but like, I can't believe I just said that. I'm sorry, I don't mean that, but
I mean, her
she played
character was
one.
a bitch.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
played.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's.
And that's what she was going for.
But I really thought she was a pretty good actress, actually. But
She gives good bitch.
yeah, yeah,
Cool. All right.
yeah, it was good, and we watched it on Tubi.
Tubi.
I watched my signed Blu-ray copy.
Nice.
Oh.
Cool.
So cool.
I want one, even though I probably won't get one now, just
In
because
your-
I didn't
Yeah.
say
In your
nice things.
in your smoking jacket with your fancy pipe.
I actually have a Pool Party Massacre hat and T-shirt also.
Oh, that's awesome.
The shirt is genius. It uses a beach ball and it's a parody of the Halloween logo.
Oh, cool.
I'll have to send you guys. It's
Yeah,
pretty
I
damn
wanna
funny.
see
And
that.
and Drew's still out. Like Hawken is saying, at every convention he can get to, he brings like the prop head with the ball gag in the mouth and sells his
yeah.
Blu-rays at his table and stuff. And he's a
Is that-
if you don't follow him on social media, he's a blast. He is such a funny, fun, positive beacon of light in the horror community.
Cool. I'd
Yeah.
love to meet
He
him.
seems like a neat guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's awesome. Yeah, he's a big sweetheart.
Yeah, sweet. Tad, since you're friends with this
friends with-
guy, what insight can you give us about this movie? What trivia do you have?
Well, there's not a whole lot on IMDb about this, but despite its warm summer appearance, the majority of Pool Party Massacre was shot in the winter, with principal photography beginning on Black Friday 2015.
Jesus.
Oh, wow.
And was filmed over the course of a 6-month shooting schedule. There were days that dropped below freezing in the first few months and over 100 degrees in the last month. So I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe Drew might have shot this at his house at the time. He doesn't live there anymore, but I think he shot this, and most of his family's in this movie too. And he's, like I said, just sort of pulled friends and people he knew into this movie. So it's really just a labor of love from him. And he's done some shorts, and he does a lot of acting and fun makeup and stuff for other indie horror stuff. And
Cool.
yeah, he reminds me, like, when I first found him, I'm like, oh, he's like he would fit into the Prescribed Film family. Like he's
I would feel
DIY.
that. I got that feeling from watching
Yeah.
the movie, and then I did read
Kindred
up on him
spirit.
a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, he would fit right in on this podcast with us. And I think Marcus Rude has had him on the Rude Horror Cast, so
Awesome.
go listen to that episode. I'm sure they talk a lot about this movie, and that's on the PFPN too.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Tad. Okay, Jason, what's our next movie we're going to talk about?
Our next film is from 2008, and it is called Let the Right One In.
Är du vampyr?
Hade du tyckt om mig ändå?
Vill du bli ihop med mig?
The film tells the story of a bullied 12-year-old boy who develops a friendship with a strange child in Blackenberg, a suburb of Stockholm, in the early 1980s. This is from Sweden, so I'm not going to pronounce anybody's names. So it was made by people, and there are people starring in it.
I'll do it fine.
Good luck, because you're so good at that. And so my history with this film is that it's my first time watch
Yes.
This is your first time watch?
because
Mine
I
as
saw
well.
Let Me In first, and I've said it a lot, so I don't mean it like this, but I don't know if I can even describe how impactful and mind-blowing and amazing it was just when I watched Let Me In. It was a big fucking deal, and I love it so much. And so, I had no problem with this movie. Obviously, everyone's like, oh, you got to watch that. And I'm like, yeah, probably, but, I don't need to. I never wanted to. I didn't feel like I needed to go watch it because it wasn't ever going to be the same. I could imagine that if I saw this in 2008, that what happened to me with Let Me In could have easily happened with this one, because I get it. And I'm not saying they're the same movie, and there's definitely differences that are awesome in this. But yeah, I just never went back to watch this one because I loved Let Me In so much. So having said that, anything I do say, it's nothing to do with this movie being compared, really. But it was fucking awesome. I wished I could have seen it first. Maybe, I don't know about that, but I loved it. It was still great. I loved everything about it. I loved all the similarities. I liked all the differences. It kind of became more about that for me, just seeing how it was going to be different and the scenes that were a little different. But yeah, as you heard in the trailer, that score is amazing, and the story is amazing, and yeah, I'm so happy for everyone who did get to see this one first too, and how it blew your minds. But yeah, so it was a first time watch for me.
Well, it was a first time watch for me too,
Whoa.
and seen it before the remake, because I still haven't watched that one yet either.
Come on, Mike.
I know, and I want to now. I'm kind of excited to watch it, but it's never been one I've checked off the list for different reasons. But it is freaking awesome. Yeah, I was just worried that it was just going to be it was going to be slow and no levity, just all gloom and dark and drab. And it is, but but it's compelling enough that
Exactly.
that it wasn't a hinder. It was a good thing. So yeah, I definitely loved it. Yes, the whole time I'm watching it, and I'm like, why is this a swimming pool horror movie? But then I get it.
Oh yeah,
I get it hard. That's an amazing scene. But yeah, and just everything was great. It still felt good. I mean, I feel like I still have a great ability to lose myself in a movie after all these years and making my own movies and stuff, that I can still lose myself into a movie, because it's been how long since this movie came out, and I going into it knowing that the little girl is a vampire, and she's been a vampire for a long ass time, and she's got this guy with her, and but I could still sit there and be like, oh wow, I'm making these revelations and connections to things that I kind of sort of already knew, but just in the moment and in the environment, it was great. Realizing who the guy is that is helping her.
right. And I don't think we should spoil that.
I'm not
for
going to.
anyone,
No, don't worry.
But
I'm not
when
going to.
you realize that, man, that's such a big deal.
Yeah. So, yeah, I loved it. It was great.
This is I don't know how many times I've seen this. I have the biggest fucking boner for this movie. I saw it when it first came out, like blind watched it, and then continued my life's journey of telling every person I could that would listen to me to immediately go see this. And I protested when they were remaking it, and then I saw it, and I really love Let Me In also. I am sort of, the idea of just remaking a movie because it's not in English shot for shot is sort of a weird concept, but
it's so weird.
I watched that in theaters and I'm like, God damn, this is beautiful too in its own way. And they changed subtle little things. And again, like Jason sort of mentioned, seeing Let Me In first, it probably changes your perception. Like I saw this first, so I like this more myself. I think, the two leads are something about their Swedishness, I guess, the way they, you know what I mean? Like his fucking weird haircut and his awkwardness and her look and something about them, like Eli and Oscar's, I don't know, something about it feels more weird and creepy to me. I mean, and they did a great job of sort of still keeping that eeriness and Let Me In. And we're not here to compare the two, but I don't know, man. Rewatching this, I have a big Tyler Stout print of this movie because I love it, and it's just the coolest vampire movie of the last 20 years. It's just fucking rad and beautiful, and this was A24 before A24 existed.
Yep, I was going to say that too.
Just gorgeous cinematography, gorgeous score, great performances. Just knocks it out of the park. I don't have a bad word to say about this movie. Thank you for letting me watch it again, Mike.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This is a first time watch for me as well.
Wow.
I had heard about this, and I had heard lots of good things. Wow. This is a really good fucking movie.
Yes.
I really, really, really enjoyed this. Just to and I think with the snow and the ambiance and just there's only like a certain places that they're shooting. It almost seems like they're living in a commune. At least that's how I felt. It was just like it almost
It's
feels
very stark,
like
like The Thing. Yeah.
it's very tight knit, and it's just like, I mean, I guess that created this sort of sense of intimacy with like all these people. It's just like, I mean, it helped me get invested really easy, and just, oh my gosh, just, and the stuff that they did, like in particular, with inviting the vampire into the home. I mean, they always talked about that, but they never really did anything with it.
You never see what
the consequences
for
exactly
not getting invited in, and I love
And
how
for her
they
to
showed
do
that.
it for him. Oh my
God
God.
damn it! I wanted to get up and cheer. I was just like, God damn! They finally did something with that, with that part of the mythos, and I'm just like, God damn it, that's good. And just some of the scenes with the caretaker guy, when he pours the halothane on himself, and you finally see him, and he's got that whole fucking Jonah Hex look to the side of his face.
That's cool.
And he pulls out his I can't remember. Did she pull it out or did he? I think he might have. When he pulls out that breathing tube. I think he did it.
I think he did. I don't remember.
And yeah, he falls out. I mean, there's just there's a lot of. I mean, the brutality isn't like really in your face, but when it happens, it's so in between. It makes it more shocking and it makes it more effective to me, because it's not just all out mayhem all the time. Once you get a little desensitized that in some films, but when they separate these things out, it just seems more effective to me. Like when he falls out of the hospital window and hits like that.
Oh God, the thud, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And when that woman has the orderly open up the curtains and she just bursts into flames, that burn and it lasted a lot longer than I thought
It hits
it
the
was
ceiling.
going to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It's not just a
engulfs the-
combust. Yeah. It's like, how the fuck did they film this?
I know. I
Brutal.
would have been a nervous wreck that day on set. I'm like,
And,
we're all
I'm-
gonna die today.
Yeah, and I'm watching these, and it's just like, good Lord, this is so good, and it's just this, and the fact that at the same time, it's this really, it's a very, very different coming of age story of a little
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
And it combined with a vampire film, and I'm watching this, I'm just like, holy shit, this is really good. And then we get to our pool scene, of course, which, those little feet dragging across the water.
So cool, right? So inventive to shoot it from that perspective.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the one thing that I really liked, and it was really it was just kind of in the background. The one friend of the bullies that just really did not want to take part in this, even when he was swatting him with that stick, he's crying, and he's just like, he doesn't want to be this kind of person. I love the fact that Ellie spared him, because he was just sitting on the bleachers crying. He just didn't want to, and that speaks a lot to what's, it's relevant, back then in the early 80s, and it's relevant today. It's just like, there's a lot of kids out there that just participate in this kind of thing because they don't want to be on the receiving end of it.
Yeah.
And I just thought, that little subtle thing where she didn't touch him because, she had the wherewithal to, I mean, of course it happens off screen, but to know that he's really not a bad person. And yeah, this goddamn movie is really, really good. And I'm almost nervous. I mean, you guys are talking up the remake, the Americanized version of it. I'm not so sure if I want. I'm not so sure if I want to watch it now.
The casting is so good in the remake, though.
Yeah, Hit
It's
Girl.
such-
I can never say her name.
Chloe Moretz.
Yep.
Chloe Grace Moretz.
Oh,
and the
she's in
boy
that?
and the handler. Oh, fucking Oscar people.
I kind of just had this thought while sitting here, because watching this one, I get it. I get the environment, but I personally can't relate to it. So I wonder if it's not always necessarily people. We do remakes of foreign films because Americans don't want to read subtitles. I think it's like we want to remake this film so our audiences have a better connection to the film. Because I mean, there's things that go on in this movie. The environment itself isn't 100% relatable. I mean, I get it, and it makes sense, and I understand that this is their life, but I personally haven't experienced that, so there is a little bit of disconnect. Not that it took away anything from the movie. I guess I'm just
You never had
oddly standing up for remakes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's weird.
I don't know. Well, it's weird too, because I remember when it came out and I watched it, and I, like I said, was sort of protesting its existence, but saw it opening night. And it's almost shot for shot. It's directed by Matt Reeves. It's almost exactly like I said, shot for shot. It has the same similar beautiful cinematography. It's a gorgeous film, and it has all those blues and the snow and the dark reds for the blood and all that. But it's weird because I was like almost relieved when in reality I should, you would think like, oh, it's a shot for shot remake, completely pointless. I hate that. Why didn't they change anything? But it's like damned if you do and damned if you don't. And it's, how do you improve on a perfect film? You don't. You just remake it with a new cast and, try to make small little changes that you would like. But, they're both their own. I don't know.
But it doesn't follow like the Psycho 1998 pattern.
No.
I mean, that was a shot for shot, but
And
this other one's actually a pretty good movie, you guys say.
So what's this teaser on Showtime about 2022?
series?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been in development for like 10 years since.
Yeah,
the,
it doesn't look
yeah,
like it's.
I don't think it's gonna get off
Make
the
it.
ground, but yeah.
Whew, what a good movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. Unanimous on this one.
I think it's on Shudder and Hulu, and you
Buy
can
the
find it.
Blu-ray.
You should. It's
I might.
classic.
I think I might too. Tad, well, since you have the Blu-ray, what kind of insight can you give us about this movie?
There's some cool little factoids about this one. One thing we didn't really touch on is sound design. Several tricks were used to create the right sound effects for some of the gorier scenes. Biting into sausages was used to replicate biting into skin and flesh. Drinking yogurt was used to sound like drinking blood, and the sound of the sound of the children blinking was made by the skin of 2 grapes rubbing together in a blinking motion. The word vampire is only said once in the film, and the last thing I had was almost every scene in the movie contains a subtle bit of the color red or red and orange, which we assume is sort of a reference to the color of blood, because the movie is very cool in its color palette. Greens, blues, it has a definite choice, but you see very subtle reds and oranges throughout, and sort of cool little Easter eggs.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so moving on to our next movie. Andy, what do you got?
Our next movie comes to us from 2012, and it is Piranha 3DD.
Let's party!
In the world's wildest water park, the party has never been hotter.
Tell me you did not replace our old lifeguards with strippers.
Water certified strippers.
And the guests have never been hungrier.
Mommy, I got bit. It was a piranha.
It was not a piranha. We think they're back.
These piranha spent eons in underground lakes and rivers. So fish can become confused and try to enter man-made drainage systems.
Is that you? Ow!
I didn't.
Whatever it is, I don't like it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most famous lifeguard of all time. Let's all get wet and wild! There's something in the water!
Just when you thought it was safe
People are dying. Do something.
to put your 3D glasses back on,
First of all, I'm not a lifeguard. Never was. Secondly, that is what natural selection's all about.
it's double the action,
Something's wrong with me.
What did you do to me?
double the terror, and double the D's.
Bring me my legs.
Piranha 3DD.
Only a year after the endless carnage at Lake Victoria, Arizona in Piranha 3D, excuse me, the marine biology student Maddie is shocked to discover that her greedy stepfather, Chet, has turned her late mother's amusement park into the summer's best adult-themed tourist attraction, the Big Wet Water Park. In other words, once more, vicious multitudes of voracious, bloodthirsty, prehistoric piranhas find their way into an all-you-can-eat buffet, the raunchy theme park, to feed off the succulent flesh of its unsuspecting visitors. Now it's up to Maddie and the piranha expert, Mr. Goodman, to stop the hordes of agile predators before they stain the waters red. However, is there an escape from the razor-sharp teeth of the piranha? Okay, basically, the piranha have made it from Lake Victoria in the first film to the Big Wet Water Park, now Cross Lake in Merkin County via the sewer pipes and underground rivers in between the lakes. It's later revealed that Chet, with the help of Sheriff Kyle, has been secretly pumping water into the park via an underground river. Piranhas have been spawning in underground rivers full of sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is commonly released in the treatment of chlorinated water, hence attracting the fish to the park. Okay, now that we know that, turn your brain off, because it's just gratuitous nudity and blood after that. This was directed by John Gulager, who also did Feast, correct?
Yeah,
Yep.
all 3 Feast movies, I believe.
All 3 of them, and you get to see his dad, God rest his soul, Clue, and you get to see Gary Busey, who delivers one
God
of
rest
the
his soul.
well, yeah, well,
Yeah,
God
more
rest
like-
one of his personalities,
He
maybe.
lost his soul a long time ago.
More like
Yeah,
Satan rest his soul.
God damn it, soul.
Yeah, holy flying baby shit. And it's just it's one just crazy joke after the other. I mean, you don't really have to read too much into it. It's just piranhas going after people and trying to eat and kill them. And there's a B story with Barry being in love with Maddie, who works there, and I guess you kind of got to have that. Lots of crazy stuff. You've got a vagina swimming through a woman's stomach to go out her birth canal and bite a guy's dick, who eventually cuts his dick off. Yeah. This is I feel like and I was talking to the guys earlier, this was the original Piranha, I guess remake, was my first show. I don't know what show that is, but it was a commentary, and that's what got me this gig, and they've been regretting it ever since. So I figured this was given to me because Gary Busey's in it, and I was pretty much imitating Ving Rhames, the first whole time I was watching Piranha.
Oh,
I ain't
that's
afraid
right.
of,
It's right.
I ain't afraid of no punk ass water.
You got so mad at the water.
Don't listen to my pussy ass mouth. Yep. He makes it back, and he's got shotgun legs,
As
which
you
is
do.
a tip of the cap to Planet Terror and such. But just lots of naked people, and of course David Koechner, Coach. I hope I'm
Keckner.
Keckner, is that how you say? Okay, my mistake. He is always funny in anything that you watch him
Love
in.
him.
Always.
I could
I'll
watch
watch
any
anything.
movie.
Yep.
Exactly. It's just absurd. All this, there's piranhas swimming up people's asses, and they got to take them out. And by the way, when he throws the joint down there and blows him up, chlorine is not flammable. By the way,
Wait, what?
and it doesn't come in liquid form; it comes in pellets. And I know this because I used to have to help maintain a pool.
Pool boy Andy.
That's right. I was a little cabana boy. But it's good to see Christopher Lloyd and just all these, and
David Hasselhoff.
Oh my god.
Exactly.
Making the same fucking joke the whole movie. But yeah, I love that he was like an asshole to like everybody. Like that was a fun running joke.
Yeah, and the little ginger moron that he saves is nice. And by the way, I was just looking at the cast here. The little ginger moron's mother, who gets his head bit off, is Sylvia Jeffries, who plays the stripper in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and she was also in 3 from Hell. So,
So she's got a great resume.
Right? I recognized her, I've recognized her too, mainly because she's naked in both of those movies too. She actually has more clothes on in this movie. Go figure.
Got Katrina Bowden.
Yeah, from Tucker and Dale.
I'll watch anything she's in.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And this movie was kind of at the boom of course, it's 3 D, it's just it kind of 3D kind of tends to fade out like every 20 years and then come back is what it seems like. But
It's the obvious sequel title. To 3D.
yeah,
It's genius.
Oh yeah.
Kind of is.
it's this movie it's kind of like it's definitely got a bigger budget than Pool Party Massacre, but it's of the same spirit, if you ask me. I mean, it's just have fun, don't.
Yeah, it'd be a good double feature together.
Yeah, just have fun.
Guys, I love this movie. I do. This is what I wish Troma would be. Feels like this is a Troma movie with a better budget and better cast.
I'm sure Troma wishes this is what Troma. This is what
I don't
Troma.
know, honestly.
This is what Lloyd Kaufman sees in the mirror when he looks. He's like, this is what the kind of movie we make.
But see, that's the thing. Like the humor in this is very Troma-esque humor, but done well. And I like John Gulager as a director. This is my favorite out of the movies he's done because, I like the first Feast. I need to go back and rewatch the second two. But
these are even written by Patrick Melton, or this is written by Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan and Joel Soyson. So they're all involved too.
Sweet. But why I think I like this one more than the Feast films is that this is not as mean-spirited as I feel the Feast films. Like the Feast films really come off mean-spirited at times, and I feel like that hurts the humor of it. Where this is just goofy. I mean, this is the best thing David Hasselhoff has ever done, and I love how he can have a sense of humor about himself. But those moments, man. It's just, to me, it's executed perfectly. You said it's kind of the same joke over and over again in this, but I don't care because I love the parody of the Jaws push-in shot with David Hasselhoff, where it had to do it 3 times before he actually got off his ass and did something. I thought that was hilarious. And then, of course, the slow motion joke where he runs like 5 feet and then
he's out of breath.
And then he's out of breath. And they actually are using the Baywatch theme when he's running in slow motion, which is great, And yes, and I just love how he's just he's just an asshole, and the David Hasselhoff stuff was great. My 2 favorite characters was in the film was the reprisal of Paul Scheer and Ving Rhames from the first movie. 2 characters that had nothing to do with each other in the first movie, but they're a support group for each other in the second movie. And Ving Rhames not having any legs, and it's just hilarious to me seeing this big tough guy Ving Rhames that we've seen him being a badass in all of his other movies, getting terrified as a small child about getting pushed into the water. To me, it just cracks me up, and always been a big Paul Scheer fan ever since I first discovered how this get made, and I thought their comedic timing between each other was great. It was great. So, and just those lingering shots on Paul Scheer, of that inspired look on his face, watching Ving Rhames shoot piranhas with shotgun legs. It just was cracking me up. There's just so many infinite amount of hilarious jokes in this and gross humor in this too, with the piranhas coming out of the vagina, the piranha stuck up the butt, it's
I remember
very...
when you first saw this movie, you lost your shit. You was like, dudes, you have to see the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah, and I didn't think it would hold up. I think but
question.
to me it still does. I mean, it's been so long now. It was definitely rewatching it with fresh eyes, and to me it still does. I mean, my complaint is the fact that we have this movie here with no story, no plot, and no character development. That it still takes way too long to get to the. Out of an hour and 20-minute movie, I feel like it takes way too long to get to the meat and potatoes. Because I was watching it, it was like almost an hour out of an hour and 20-minute movie before the big piranha mayhem at the pool. But it's just minor. It's still good all the way around. And I appreciate even more now that I recognize more of the cast. The lead in it is Danielle Panabaker, who was on the Flash TV show, a regular on the Flash show. So it was awesome.
Friday the 13th remake.
Yeah, and she was in that. But was really excited to see her in this because I was a big Flash fan. And
I'm a big Sky High fan. So.
Oh, that's right. She's in that too. Damn.
Yeah, she's in a lot of great stuff.
Yeah. Matt Bush, who plays the guy that crushes on her through the whole movie.
Gets the girl.
Yeah, he's a recurring character on the Goldberg, so it was cool seeing him. And yeah, Cucina Bowden from Tucker and Dale. She's awesome and very
great
nice
cast.
to look at. Yeah, great cast for a movie of what it is. You got Christopher Lloyd coming back. Yeah. His scene is great.
Having diarrhea, baby.
He's really good in it.
Yeah. Yeah, getting Gary Busey in there, that had to have been a fun day of shooting. And Clue in there, of course, but expecting
he
to see
probably
Clue.
did bite the head off of a real fish too.
I think
very possible.
I think Clue was literally been in everything that his son has done, which is cool.
I would hope so, man. If I have that as my dad, he's going to be in everything I make. So
yeah. So yeah, I can gush probably all day about it. It's, is it, is it an amazing movie? No, but it's dumb, gross fun, and I love it for that. So
it's a blast, man.
Yeah, I took the words right out of my mouth. I think it's total fun. It's
Did you all see this in theaters?
No, I wish.
I did not. No.
Yeah, this is my first time watch because when Mike goes off on a movie called Piranha 3 Double D, I'm like, I'm not gonna watch that. So I also thought that this might have been a punishment or something he was giving me, but.
Had you seen the first one?
Yeah, I've seen the first one. It's good. I liked it a lot.
We watched it on the podcast, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I'm just like,
I've seen 3D and liked it enough.
Well, and obviously the first one's silly too, but this I feel like goes, no pun intended, way more off the deep end on that
I think
angle.
the pun was intended. But I gotta say, watching it for the first time, I'm fucking pissed. That I liked it that much. It was so fun. God damn it, I was pissed. I mean, yeah, Hasselhoff was fucking great. I mean, god damn it, he was pretty good. And yes, everything else you said, seeing all the guys, the great cast, stupid gore. It was so fun that you didn't care about the CGI piranha, and they weren't even that bad, and it was fine. I'm pissed.
We need Shout Factory to release this on Blu-ray with a 45 vinyl of Love Hunter by David Hasselhoff.
Oh God, no. Ugh. Yeah, man, it was a good time.
Yeah, good time. So that's Piranha 3 Double D. Again, unanimous.
Oh.
Little misleading because it's a second movie. I know 3D, but I mean, people could read it wrong.
Yeah. Be careful when trying to find those movies because I mean, I guess we're living in a day and age where movie title sequels are getting more and more confusing. You got Predator, you got Predators, you got The Predator.
Scream and Scream and Halloween. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, Halloween, and Halloween. There's 3 of them that are just called Halloween.
Well, I mean, I think it's safe to say in this day and age, you got to explain everything. They put warnings on batteries for people not to drink the fucking acid out of them. Okay, so
that's true. Okay, so Piranha 3 Double D, check it out. Oh, but guess what? Surprise bonus. We're not done talking about movies. We got one more, and I'm going to talk about it. It's called Shark Pool.
Dude, it's so good.
I'll give the synopsis. We don't have a trailer for it because the whole thing is a trailer. Kara Thompson throws the party of the year at her house. However, The bash is ruined when a shark turns up in the pool. So I normally try. I try not to, when I do a description, not just go straight from IMDb or whatever. But this time I did, because I think it's hilarious that there's more going on in this description than in the whole fake trailer. Because at no point does it ever mention that this pool is at a Kara Thompson's house. So I thought that was funny. But yeah, this is a fake trailer short film. Easily you can find it on, well, I wouldn't say easily, because make sure you type in shark pool and not pool shark.
Different things.
But it's so damn funny. This has got to be one of my, or in my top 10 of all-time favorite comedy horror shorts. Right up there with Treevenge for me. And I saw this way back in the day. Oh, I forgot to write down the year. Crap, I don't remember what year this one is, but
we saw it right when it came out.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It's been a while, because I remember, wasn't sure if I should share this story, but I remember we were at a convention with Justin, and he had a table there, and we were there that weekend to help him, and we were next to an actress, a self-proclaimed actress model who was kind of rude.
2011.
And she had a list on her table of the movie she's in, and this was listed there. And I'm trying to talk to her about it, and she's just giving me nothing. And just through the conversation, I'm like, I'm gonna guess this whole resume is freaking fake, unless there was some other movie she was in called Shark Pool. She had no idea what I was talking about. But I was so excited when I saw it on our list. I wanted to talk to her about it, because I love this fake trailer so much.
It's so funny.
I think the more proper title should be called The Quest for Common Sense. Because it's just like the only guy that's got a brain in his head is just like, don't go in the pool.
Well, that's what's great about it. Like, this is like the ultimate shark movie, because it does the one thing that you want to say to everybody in every shark movie. Just don't go in the water. The movie's over.
Especially in this case, it's even more ridiculous, because it's a
pool.
It's a swimming pool.
None of this is even possible. Why are... so funny.
Have you guys seen the Big Shark trailer from Tommy Wiseau?
No.
Oh, God, no.
I'll have to send that in the chat, but that's another one that's just a trailer, and it's a Tommy Wiseau shark movie. Yeah, I mean,
that's good.
That's all I have to say is those four words, and you guys are interested. So
I am. I want to see this bad.
Oh, hi, shark.
Oh, my.
Shark, you're tearing me apart. My favorite line in this is, what are you, a Marines biologist? Great line. So funny. Yeah, it's great. And you just have this guy throughout the entire trailer. Everybody's like freaking out, like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And the guy's just off to the side through the whole thing. Just like, yeah, nothing. Just don't go in the pool. But it's so hot out. He's right. Damn it, he's right. This is directed by a guy named Tony Yakenda, I think.
Nailed it.
Yes. I want to see more of his stuff, because when I looked him up, I'm like, oh, everything I do know him from, I love, and it's definitely in the same vein. He did that American Vandal fake documentary series on Netflix, which is hilarious.
Oh, that's fantastic! Yeah.
Yeah, he did that. He did he did a lot of stuff for College Humor, and he directed a few episodes of that show Dave, I think one of you guys were talking about.
I love Dave too. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. It's all that pretty ridiculous humor.
Yeah, cool. Anybody else have anything they want to say? There's not a ton to say, because it's pretty short.
It's awesome. Watch it.
Yeah, it's worth a watch if you want to chuckle during the day.
Yeah. I wanted to throw it in there real quick, just because the minute this topic was brought up, it's the first thing that
Oh,
popped
yeah.
into my head. So,
yeah.
okay. All right. So, attention swimmers, everybody out. The pool is closing, but don't worry. There's still more Attack of the Killer podcast to come. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, it'll be segments time here on the show. First, though, you're going to hear a promo for our podcast network we call the Prescribed Films Podcast Network. At the PFPN, we have over 30 shows on the network, including Call In Mockery. Landon and Joey, off of the hit podcast Lunch Break, are back with Call In Mockery, based on their popular TV show of the same name. Here's the catch. You get to be part of the show whenever you want. If you call 319-DUB-MIT, that's 319-382-6448, and you leave a message on their 24/7 call-in line, they'll play your message on the air, which dictates where the show will go.
Does it ever?
Fans of other shows on the Prescribed Films Podcast Network will come in for inevitable movie discussions, but stay for the fact that you will never truly know where the conversations will end up. With celebrity cameos, improv, songs, the longest promo I've ever had to read on this show, and so much more. The guys will show that they'll do anything to make you laugh. Now, one important note from the hosts. As per the show's name, if you call them, they will mock you. If you don't call, they decide where the episode goes. It's a real lose-lose situation, no matter what. So you can listen to Call In Mockery and all the other shows at thepfpn.com. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
And we are back. It is segments time here on the show, and we want to hear from you guys. So here's Jason with shout-outs.
It's time for shout-outs! 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 Shout-outs!
All right, we asked what are your favorite horror movies involving a swimming pool, and these are your answers. Up first, we got Tim Lennerer. He says the all-timer has to be the walk-the-plank sequence in Alligator. I'm amazed that the TV print I saw had it uncut. It's so awesome. There's so much blood. Second place to the vampire attack on several bullies filmed from the POV of their victim, Let Me In. The audience knows exactly what's happening, even if all we see are moving limbs and thrashing water above the sight line of the shot. And bronze goes to Poltergeist. The mom trying to claw her way out of a corpse-filled muddy hole that's going to be a pool in the future, and falling back among the bodies looked like a waking nightmare. Oh, man, it is. Up next, we got our pal Trevor Swaim. He says, the swimming pool scene in Let the Right One In is easily fave. Eli is awesome. Agreed, Trevor. And next we have Nick Leadham. He says Robocroc and Aqua Slash. I don't know what those words mean. You guys?
But we need to find out.
Nick, explain yourself. Okay. Over on our Facebook group, we got the Insufferable Podcast. I'm going to hit follow right now. Okay. And they say Poltergeist. Good answer, the Insufferable Podcast. And speaking of podcasts, I think it's all who answered in this one. We got My Bleeding Ears Podcast on the PFPN. He said, I would say either Let the Right One In and House from the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Little
Yeah.
kid disappears in the pool. Yeah.
Over on Twitter, we have Camila at _rugged angel. You remember Camila? She was on the show once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She says the Stepfather remake is good. And The Strangers Pray at Night.
There you go.
I love the sound design during the pool scene. No shit, man. That
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the movie, but that scene itself is probably the highlight.
is badass, that scene.
Yeah.
And then over on Instagram, this might come to a shock to you guys, but it's from Unsung Horrors. And the comment is, the kid getting eaten in alligator.
Yeah, not surprised.
Not
Shocking.
surprised at all. Of course. Thank you all for your comments. What's that? Oh, is that the voicemail machine? I think the light's blinking. We better hit play.
Hey everybody, Attacker Brian here. Sounds like this week we're taking a deep dive into swimming pool horror. And the only movie I could find about swimming pools was called The Pool. I believe it's a Korean movie about a guy cleaning out a pool. He survives all year, all summer, in the pool, swimming in the pool. And then when it's time to clean the pool gets him. Or the alligator gets him. Something gets him. I can't even remember if he lived. I think the most memorable part of the movie was the dog.
Did you see the movie?
That's what most people remember. So if you survive summer and the pool didn't get you, there's still time. Watch out. Be careful. And take care. Till next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Brian Godzilla. And thanks to everyone who left awesome shout-outs today. Remember that you can also be like Brian and leave us a voicemail. You can call us at 415-952-6857 or 415-95-AOTKP. And that is shout-outs. But before we go on to the end of the show, one quick little segment first.
Yeah, quick.
What's that?
Yeah, quick.
No, I don't mean it can be as long as you want it, buddy. It's time for a
Be
Saints Picks.
Welcome to part 2 of inducting Edward D. Wood Jr. into the Insane's Picks Hall of Fame. When we last left off, Ed was finally entering into the world of sci-fi horror, the genres that he loved ever so much that when he was a kid. We last talked about Bride of the Monster, and after that he went straight back to the typewriter. In 1956, Wood wrote the screenplay for the film The Violent Years, originally titled Teenage Girl Gang, which was directed by William M. Morgan. Wood then began filming a juvenile delinquent film called Rock and Roll Hell, also known as Hellborn, in 1956. But producer George Weiss pulled the plug on the project after only 10 minutes of footage had been completed. Conrad Brooks purchased the footage, and some scenes were later incorporated as stock footage into Wood's later Night of the Ghouls in 1959. The entire 10 minutes of footage was later released complete on VHS in 1993 as Hellborn. Despite these projects trying to cash in on the juvenile delinquency fear of the time, he would quickly return to horror and sci-fi with the film he would be the most well-known for. That is right, the 1957 classic Plan 9 from Outer Space. Wood co-produced, wrote, and directed this science fiction opus. The original screenplay Wood wrote was entitled Grave Robbers from Outer Space. The film features Bela Lugosi, but sadly, in August of 1956, before the production even began, Lugosi passed away. Wood shot some footage of Bela for a completely different project that never got off the ground in 1955, and he just, used that footage to include Bela into Plan 9 from Outer Space as Bela Lugosi's final film role. For the rest of the scenes that he needed Bela for, Wood would have his wife's chiropractor, Tom Mason, as a body double, and would just cover his face with a cape and would look just like Bella, even though he was a whole foot taller than Bella. Plan 9 from Outer Space also starred Tor Johnson, Vampira, the amazing Criswell as the film narrator. Plan 9 premiered March 15th, 1957, and later went into general release in July of 1959, which is when it was retitled Plan 9 from Outer Space. In 1957, Wood wrote and directed a pilot for a suspense horror TV series to be called Portraits in Terror that ultimately failed to sell. The pilot, entitled Final Curtain, sees an old actor wandering in an empty theater, imagining ghosts and living mannequins haunting the backstage area until he realizes that he himself is dead. Parts of the unsold plot were later recycled for use in Wood's Night of the Ghouls, and the episode was thought to be lost until a complete print was located in 2010. It was remastered and given its first ever cinematic showing in a theater in February of 2012. Speaking of content that was never ever released until years later, in 1958, Ed Wood, his next film would be Night of the Ghouls. The film featured Criswell, Duke Moore, and Tor Johnson reprising his role as Lobo from Bride of the Monster. For many years, it was thought to be a lost film. Distribution was held up for 25 years because Ed Wood did not pay the lab bill. Video producer Wade Williams paid the bill and released the film on videocassette in 1984. Interesting fact about Night of the Ghouls is that it is basically one of the earliest connected universes. Kelton the Cop appears in all three of the films Bride of the Monster, Plan 9 from Outer Space, and Night of the Ghouls. And the fact that Tor Johnson comes back as Lobo from Bride of the Monster makes, a great connection of all three films, even though Tor Johnson plays a completely different character in Plan 9 from Outer Space. In 1958, Wood also wrote the screenplay for Bride of the Beast, which was directed by Adrian Weiss. He also wrote the screenplay for a 1959 nudie cutie film called Revenge of the Virgins, which was directed by Peter Perry Jr. In 1960, Wood wrote and directed the exploitation film The Sinister Urge. Filmed in just 5 days, this was the last mainstream film that Ed Wood ever directed. From the 1960s all the way to the end, Ed Wood would continue to fall and deeper due to his alcoholism, and ended up reduced to making softcore pornos and writing trash novels until even that work would end up drying up. But that is a story for another day, when we will do part 3 next time, inducting Edward D. Wood Jr. into Insane's Picks Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Is it the climax of the... How many part series is Ed Wood?
3.
Just
3.
Okay.
We're going to cover his
yeah.
work, his porno work in the 60s and 70s, and some of his trash novels. And up to his death, I think, in 77, I believe. So, yeah. And
Awesome.
so it's probably going to be shorter, the next one, because there's not a ton to talk about. But I wanted to save the darker times for the end on its own. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that wraps up another episode of Attack of the Killer podcast. I think this one made quite a splash.
Oh, jeez. Thanks
for listening. And I'll share the final words of my grandfather, who died in a swimming pool. Goodbye, everybody.
Oh no, could this be the end of? Attack of the Killer